The city had a rumor it never proved that somewhere behind the glass towers and neon streets, a silent empire moved without logos, without announcements, without mercy. People did not say the leader's names loudly, they lowered their voices when they mentioned him. His name was Jungkook, and in the underground world he was known as the king who never missed what he wanted. One never had cared about rumors, power circles, or hidden empires. One cared about routine, warm tea, late night reading, and the comfort of predictable days. That was why the first disruption felt so wrong and not dramatic, not loud, precise. Early morning at exactly 6:40, the black car parked across the street for 8 minutes, then left. Same timing, same position, same tinted windows. On the fifth day, Wine walked to the window and spoke without raising her voice. Wine, if you're watching, at least learn to vary the timing. The car did not move, but Wine's phone vibrated instantly. Unknown number. Good, you notice patterns. Wine did not reply. Wine took a photo of the car and sent it. Wine, good, you make mistakes. Unknown number. Only when I want attention. That was the beginning. After that message, things began arranging themselves around Wine's life like invisible hands were editing reality. The route manager who kept bothering Wine was transferred overnight. A broken hallway camera in the building was replaced within hours. Packages Wine forgot to order arrived anyway exactly correct. 3 weeks later, the power in the apartment cut off at 1:12 a.m., but the building lights stayed on. Wine did not panic. Wine walked to the kitchen, opened the drawer, and held the knife steadily. Wine, you picked the wrong house if you expected screaming. A slow clap from the dark living room came. Jungkook stepped forward from the shadow like he had always been there. Expression calm, posture relaxed, eyes sharply focused only on Wine. Jungkook. Confidence confirmed. Files notes were correct. Wine did not lower the knife. Wine. State your name and purpose before a test. Fast how you bleed. Jungkook. My name is Jungkook. My purpose is you. Wine. You broken. Jungkook. I entered a secured asset. Wine. I'm not an asset. Jungkook. You are the only variable that refused to stay background. Wine. Speak like a human. Jungkook's gaze softened slightly, but the intensity did not drop. Jungkook. I saw you once, then I could not ignore you again. Wine. That is not a reason to invade my home. Jungkook. It is when ignoring becomes impossible. Wine. You install cameras? Instead of attacking, Wine studied him. Dangerous men usually perform the danger. He did not perform. He simply was. Wine. What exactly are you, Jungkook? Jungkook. Someone who removes threats before they reach what is mine. Wine. I'm not yours. Jungkook. We will argue that for a while. After that night, mystery turned into pressure. Wine discovered hidden microphones, but Wine removed them, better ones appeared. Wine changed phone, but messages still arrived. Wine left city for 2 days, and hotel staff greeted Wine by name before check-in. Finally, Wine forced the confrontation in public, stepping directly in front of the black car when it appeared again. Wine, come out and speak like a man instead of a shadow. The door opened immediately. Jungkook stepped out like he had been expecting the challenge. Jungkook, direct confrontation increases respect. One, stop orbiting my life. Jungkook, orbit implies distance. One, then say what you want clearly. Jungkook stepped closer, voice low but unwavering. Jungkook, I want permanence. One, define it. Jungkook, marriage. Silence held for two full breaths. Wine, you skipped several thousand steps. Jungkook, I do not walk slow paths to obvious outcomes. Wine, you decided alone? Jungkook, yes. The wedding was arranged like a classified operation, private estate, sealed, guest, legal authority already present, one type under guard, not drag but not free. White fabric, gold lights, armed security hidden behind decoration. Wine faced him across the ceremonial table. Wine, you built a cage and called it a ceremony. Jungkook, I built certainty and called it commitment. Wine, you confuse control with devotion. Jungkook, control is how devotions survive attacks. Wine, do you think someone will steal me? Jungkook, I know someone will try. Wine, if I keep resisting you after this paper is signed. Jungkook's answer came without pause. Jungkook, then I keep choosing you after it's signed. Wine, you're not afraid I will hate you? Jungkook, hate still looks at me. When the ring touched Wine's hand, her grip was firm and steady, not trembling, not rushed like he was locking a decision already lived with for months. Later, alone, behind the closed doors, Wine tested the final question. Wine, are still the cameras on me now? Jungkook walked to the wall screen and sat down, dozen of feet. Jungkook, only the perimeter, not you. Wine, why? Remove them now. Jungkook stepped close enough that his voice no longer needed volume. Jungkook, because now I want to see you, I do not need lenses. I just stay close. Outside the gate sealed, inside the mystery did not end. It settled into possession. Jungkook's mother entered first, elegant, composed, eyes sharp with intelligence rather than fear. His father followed, calm and observant, the kind of man who measured people in seconds. His mother smiled gently at Wine, not surprised, not confused, as if she had known this outcome long before tonight. Mrs. June, so you were the one who made him recognize the entire security division? Wine blinked once. Wine, you will sound proud of that. Mrs. June laughed softly. Mrs. June, he has ruled cities without losing sleep. You made him lose sleep. That is impressive. Mr. Jones stepped forward and offered a respectful nod. Mr. Jones, welcome to the family. You're safe here, which means you are not leaving easily. One glass of Jungkook. I'm noticing a pattern in how your family defines welcome. Jungkook's mouth almost curved. Jungkook, consistency is important. His mother took Wine's hand warmly. Mrs. Jones, you will find your own power here. Do not let his intensity fool you. He listens more than he admits. Wine. I intend to test that claim, Mrs. Jones. Good. He needs someone who does not bend quickly. They did not stay long. The welcome was brief, deliberate, respectful, no interrogation, no awkward prompting, just acknowledgement. When they left, the door closed softly, and the silence that followed felt heavier than before. The wedding chamber was prepared upstairs, not overly decorated, not theoretical darkwood, low lights, city glow through tall gates. A room designed for privacy rather than display. One step stopped near the doorway instead of entering fully. But if you expect this marriage to erase the way this marriage started, you miscalculated. Jungkook removed his jacket slowly, eyes never leaving Wine. Jungkook, I never expect instant results. I build long outcomes. Wine, you force proximity, not trust. Jungkook stepped closer, not touching close enough that the air between Wine felt shared. Jungkook, proximity creates truth faster than distance. Wine, resentment faster. Jungkook, I can outlast resentment. Wine, look at him measuring, searching for hesitation and finding none, but also finding something else tonight restraint. Wine, you're very calm for a man who just forced a wedding. Jungkook, because the part I wanted is done. Now I can slow down. Wine, that is not comforting. Jungkook, it is not meant to be comforting. It is meant to be real. Wine, why are you not touching me? Jungkook answered quietly. Jungkook, because tonight I want to be aware, not overpowered. Wine, you think that makes you gentle? Jungkook, no, it makes me controlled. Wine's voice lowered. Wine, if I step closer myself, his gaze darkened, slightly focused, sharpening. Jungkook, then it becomes your decision, not my action. The morning sunlight sweeps so softly through the heavy curtains, painting the room in pale gold. Wine moved slowly, her body heavy with weight of yesterday's events, her mind struggling to reconcile her own life with the reality she now faced. Once she had been a shy girl, careful and cautious. Her parents had been everything, and after the accident, the world had collapsed. She had learned to live alone, to protect herself, to move quietly through the life unnoticed. But that life was gone now. Every corner of this house, every guarded step, every silent glance reminded her she was no longer in control. Wine turned her face from the light, trying to hide the swirl of helplessness in her chest. She did not want to see him. From behind, a familiar voice broke the silence. Jungkook, Wine, get up. We have a schedule today. Wine stiffened but remained lying down, staring at the sheets. Wine, I'm not hungry and I'm not ready. Jungkook's step approached slow and measured. He leaned just behind her chair. Jungkook, you will need to tie my tie now. Wine felt her chest tighten. Tie? She had never imagined herself standing before him in such proximity, her hands trembling, her palms hot. Wine, I don't. Before she could refuse further, his hand was on hers, warm, strong, guiding her to the tie. Her fingers brushed his, he did not let go. Jungkook, here. Vine swallowed and tried to steady herself. She stood, reaching for the collar, but he was so much taller than she was. His arm barely reached, and she hesitated. Her arm barely reached, and she hesitated, feeling smaller than ever. Jungkook, noticing immediately, didn't hesitate. He pulled a stool close, pressing it firmly beneath her feet. Jungkook, stand here. You need height. Vine stepped onto it, but even there, the gap seemed impossible. Her body felt fragile in front of his broad shoulders, his presence overwhelming. She felt every inch of her smallness, every whisper of vulnerability she had learned to hide all her life, laid bare. Jungkook, stand here. You need. She finally reached the collar, her hands fully slightly as she looped the tie around his neck. Jungkook watched quite silently, his eyes tightening as he took in every detail, the curve of her cheeks, the softness of her hair, watching the morning light, the way her eyes, wide and nervous, darted up to meet his. He felt a warmth rising in his chest he didn't expect it. Jungkook, thinking, she's beautiful. Every flaw, every hesitation, every small moment it makes her perfect. She's like an angel, fragile but fierce in ways I have never seen before. I fell for her yesterday, but right now I'm falling all over again. Vine finally managed to tie the knot, her hand shaking slightly. She glanced up and their eyes met. She looked so small, so delicate, yet there was a spark in them he could not ignore. Jungkook, down, muted well. Jungkook stood straight, straightening, adjusting his collars. He looked down at her on the stool and smiled faintly, almost tenderly, his hand brushing against her hair as if to study her. Jungkook, you look better than I imagined. Vine froze her heart hammering. She wanted to pull back to read it into the safety of being small, unnoticed, alone, but at the same time, she felt the dangerous pull of him, of this life she hadn't chosen but not escaped. The morning light spilled across the dining hall, soft and warm, yet the air between Vine and Jungkook remained taut with tension. Like a bowstring pulled tight, the table was set immaculately polished silverware, steaming dishes, delicate china. His parents sat at either end, calm, composed. Vine sat opposite Jungkook, still feeling small and fragile from the morning's encounter. She glanced at the plate in front of her and instinctively reached for another one, bypassing the one Jungkook had carefully placed before her. Mrs. Jones subtly toward her husband, careful not to draw attention, and whispered softly enough that only he could hear. Mrs. Jones, see how she resists him? Yet every gesture, every careful move draws him closer. This is what makes a marriage real, not easy. He nodded slightly, understanding exactly what his wife meant. Mr. Jones, yes, it is in these little things that you see the bond forming under tension. Mrs. Jones smiled faintly, this kind of smile that carried both approval and amusement. Mrs. Jones, he won't rush her, but she'll find herself caught in him before she even realizes it. Wine took a bite quietly, focusing entirely on her food, careful not to answer only when addressed by his parents. Mr. John, did you sleep well, Wine? I hope the room was comfortable. Wine looked up politely, her voice steady. Wine, yes, sir, very comfortable. Thank you. Mrs. June, in breakfast, is everything to your liking? Wine, yes, ma'am, everything is delicious. She did not glance at Jungkook once, though she felt his eyes burning into her with quiet intensity, tracking her every motion. When she reached for the water, he subtly gestured for her to pass it, a silent command in his dark, steady eyes. Wine froze, hesitating, and deliberately ignored him, taking her own glass and sipping carefully. The unspoken tension crackled across the table, drawing every muscle in her body taut. Jungkook's jaw tightened imperceptibly, his patience tested but unbroken. Wine froze. Wine. Jungkook, I'm going to the office today. Jungkook said closer, voice slow and controlled. Jungkook, no, I don't want to going there. It's dangerous. Wine stared at him, jaw tight, heart pounding with both anger and stubborn pride. Wine, I'm not asking for permission. I'm telling you that I'm going. He paused, the faintest shadow of frustration flickering across his face. Then, in that unyielding, silent way of his, he nodded once. Jungkook, fine, but I'm making sure you are safe. Vine crossed her arms, trying to hide the flutter of nerves she refused to acknowledge. Guards moved discreetly around her, ensuring she could walk from the car to the building without any risk. It was subtle, invisible to most, but she felt the presence of protection like a cage she both needed and resented. Finally, the workday ended. Vine walked out of the office and waited at the bus stop, deliberately keeping Jungkook unaware of her schedule. She wanted freedom, even if just for a few minutes. The sun was dripping low when the deep, unmistakable growl of an engine cut through the calm city. Vine froze. Then the horn honked once, low and commanding. Jungkook, get in. Vine clenched her fist, the impulse to scream, to fight, to punch him rising. She inhaled through her nose, sweat hammering, and slid into the back seat, forcing herself to sit with as much dignity as she could muster. Jungkook leaned against the car casually, eyes glinting. Jungkook, I'm your husband, my love. Come sit in the passenger seat. Vine glared at him, anger hot in her veins, fist tight at her sides, her teeth grounded together. She wanted to punch him to tell him off, but the magnetic pull of his authority, the unspoken control made her pause. She huffed and reluctantly moved forward, letting herself sit in the passenger seat. Jaw tight, spine rigid. Jungkook started the car, and for a moment it was silent for the engine purring beneath them. The city lights flickering past, then almost teasingly he pressed down on the escalator, the car surging toward with a smooth but thrilling speed. Vine's eyes widened. Vine, Jungkook, slow down. He glanced at her from the corner of his eyes, lips curling into a faint teasing smile. Jungkook, are you scared? Vine turned sharply toward him, fist gripping the seat. Vine, angry, not scared. Jungkook, good. That's how I like your fury. One's heart raced with a mixture of fear, frustration, and something she couldn't name. Every instinct screamed to resist, but even every inch of her trapped in that sleek black car knew he had already won. His presence, his dominance, hysterically reducing it, left her simultaneously furious and unable to look away. Jungkook pressed the escalator a little more and more recklessly, but enough to feel the tension in the car thrum like an unspoken promise. When Jungkook, yes. Wine, do not think this lets you win. Jungkook's smile was infuriating, teasing, magnetic. Jungkook. I never thought I had to win. Already fallen into my orbit. One shot from the glare, but the corner of her lips betrayed a twitch of acknowledgement. A flicker of awareness that yes, he had her. In every way.